In the new program Sports Nation, we will hold talks with Kazakhstan sportsmen who cannot imagine their life without extreme sport. Yerzhan Yessimkhanov and Saken Kagarov are known far beyond the borders of Kazakhstan. They like adrenaline, but get it in different ways. Young, ambitious sportsman Saken Kagarov is professionally engaged in downhill. This type of sport is called downhill mountain bike. Also, Saken went in for downhill skiing and made much headway, having won several medals. At the same time, he's a blogger and a traveler. In the course of the interview, we will learn about other hobbies of Saken as well. We purposely came to this picturesque place to meet with Saken Kagarov. Nice to meet you, Saken. First of all, please give an explanation of what downhill is for the people unfamiliar with this sport.
Downhill
is a track speed skiing by bike over obstacles against the clock. You need a special bike with a track, expanders and brakes. Why did you choose downhill and when did you start training? I found it on the internet. When you look up on the internet, you see something new in the United States or in Europe. My friend from school showed me some downhill videos. At first, I didn't like it. Then I watched videos several times and tried to do the same. So then you just bought a bicycle? No, firstly I rented. Then I borrowed it from my friends, and later I realized that I needed my own bike to continue training. Tell us about your competitions and trips and how much expensive it is. In fact, there used to be many competitions in the past, 5, 7 per year, funded by both the partners and the state. Nowadays, the situation is worse as Kazakh tenge keeps falling. Now bicycles costs not 500,000 tenge, their price is up to 2 to 3 million. It has a significant impact on the development of sports in our region. Now I try to participate in European competitions once or twice per year. Many people in Kazakhstan are interested in downhill, aren't they? There are mostly Almaty citizens who are interested in downhill. Some people from other cities are also engaged in this sport. I know that, for example, in Karaganda, there are 5 to 10 people. In Almaty, there are 200 people, and among them, 60 people who take part in the competitions. Everything depends on the level of competitions. If the prize is worthy, many participants compete for it. For example, 2 years ago, there were 120 participants. Do you have suitable conditions? In 2012, my friends and I built the track for us and for the people who could try and enjoy this kind of sport. There is no development in the terms of professional sports due to another mentality. People often say that this sport is dangerous and very expensive. For example, in winter, there are many skiers and snowboarders on Chimbulak. People got used to the fact that in winter it is not extreme to go skiing in the mountains. However, it is still considered dangerous to ride a bike in the mountains. It is super dangerous and super expensive. After all, you should buy a professional bicycle. There are travel and transportation costs. During traveling, there is most often a problem with transportation. Some airlines simply refuse to take bicycles. Some of them drive up the prices. If the bike is not more than 23 kilograms in weight, some airplane companies allow to transport it in the baggage. What else do you prefer in ordinary life? Where did you get education, and what was your occupation before you started doing extreme sport? I completed studies as a programmer, worked for friends and relatives for a few weeks. Then I decided not to work as a programmer. It is a very good, useful, interesting profession, but I chose traveling, sports, and so far I am satisfied. Have you always been so communicative?
Ну да, у меня получается еще с самого начала, когда я ездил по
Yes,
Европе,
from the very beginning, when I traveled around Europe, my English was not so good. I just said, let's talk, and I didn't speak English well, but people understood me, and we communicated. I realized that I didn't have to be shy, I had to try.
просто пробовать.
Another guest of our program is a famous lawyer, blogger, and writer, Yerzhan Yessimkhanov. But we know him more like a professional ocean man. He's the first Kazakh to swim the English Channel. He sailed 34 kilometers in cold water and raised the flag of Kazakhstan on the coast of France. Hello, Yerzhan. Nice to meet you. Tell me who has the right to bear the title of the Oceanman.
Это серия стартов, они называют себя...
It is a series of starts, which called as World Championship. In amateur marathon swimming, those people who sail the full distance from 10 to 14 kilometers can be called Oceanmen. I have sailed 5 of such distances, 2 of them in Spain, 3 in Italy.
В копилке, 3 в Испании, 2 в Италии.
When did you realize that you want to try it?
Ну, я начинал постепенно. Мой первый старт был в России.
I began step by step. My first swim was for 3 miles across the Volga. After this start, I decided to swim half of the Oceanman distance in Spain, 5 kilometers. It was very hard, but I worked it out. The same year I decided to swim the full distance. It was an adventure, because I had not so much experience. But in October 2016, I sailed 10 kilometers. I was swimming nearly for 4 hours. So we may draw a parallel between Oceanman and Ironman. Being Ironman is more difficult, because full distance for a trained athlete is 11 to 12 hours, and it is less for Oceanman. They may be comparable if you have more difficult starts in marathon swimming. Another difference is that involvement in Ironman competitions is bigger in comparison with that of Oceanman. Though it could be argued, this start is very popular in Russia and Ukraine. I was the first among Kazakhstan Oceanmen to make a full ocean swim. The most popular start in Italy is around Lake Ortho. There can be up to 1,000 people. It is an amateur tournament. Most of people go there just to try, others for victories, but the majority of people go there to overcome themselves. It is a positive competition. Do you strive not to finish in last place? Yes, it is very important for me. I started to have progress, not at once.
Ваш жизненный путь довольно-таки интересный. Вы пытаетесь реализоваться и во всех...
You have a very interesting life. You fulfill yourself in many spheres of activity. You are a successful lawyer and a writer. Are there any other spheres you would like to master?
Тоже освоить, начать и довести до конца.
Я на самом деле считаю, что я в довольно маленьком количестве вещей реализовался.
I believe that I mastered a small number of spheres. This is as it should be. I do not try to do many things at once. I have a profession. I go in for amateur sport and I write a book to disclose all the thoughts I publish on social media. I would like to develop in the same direction. I would like to help my children to take full advantage in their life. I mentioned 4 or 5 issues which are important for me and which I'm going to follow. What developed you as an extreme sportsman?
Задатки спортсмена-экстремала,
I cannot say that someone in my family does sports. So it just turned out that at some point it became interesting not only to do career, but to try something else. I believe that people can start to do sports after the age of 40, 50. My mom for the first time went skiing at 57. I was the first person in my family to go skiing. Then I encouraged my wife, my brothers, my children, and my mother.
Братьев, потом детей, и у меня мама стала на горные лыжи. То есть, 57 лет, это круто, я считаю, очень. Это начал человек.
I believe that it is never too late to come to sport.
Спорту все возрасты.
So your lifestyle serves like an example for them.
Но это же на самом деле не разговор про...
Sport is a part of our life now. In winter, when we have days off, we usually go skiing.
Зимой, выходной день.
My children adore skiing.
Всё, как бы. Если я этого не сделаю, меня дети из меня душу вытрясут, потому что они это любят в первую очередь уже.
Фриски — это свободные лыжи. Ты катаешься и вне трасс фрирайд, и в парке.
Free ski is a type of freestyle skiing when you ride both off the track and down the track. You do not do tricks. You just go down the track and over rocks and feel free. You ride outside the track, jump on the springboard. Fresh snow falls and you go to break. It is called powder.
Свежий снег, ты едешь его разбивать, это паудер называется.
So do you want to make video content?
Да.
Yes, it became a video content because earlier few people made video for a large audience. Now, if you shoot video in a beautiful and unusual way, it is called good content. You do not forget about bicycle. Yes, I chose ski in winter and downhill in summer. In the period between seasons, I prefer climbing tours and expeditions. You are a traveler and a traveling vlogger. What things in your life lead you to it? It started with cycling competitions, but there was a disadvantage because I arrived to competitions on the very day of competitions. I went there for 5 days and then I left, so I didn't have a chance to explore the country I visited. In 2014, I was in Norway, but I rode only on the track. When I was asked about Norway, I answered that I didn't have an opportunity to see this country. I felt uncomfortable with the fact that I visited the country without exploring it. I decided that next time I would go to competitions abroad and would spend some time for traveling. So I arrived a week before, took a walk, and after that I participated in competitions. Then it became a tradition for me to combine traveling and competitions. Name 3 of your favorite countries. One of my favorite countries is Norway. I have been there for 4 times. In the past year, I visited it 3 times. The second one is Austria. I have visited it 5 years in a row, taking part in the competitions, but still didn't see many places of Austria. The third country is Kazakhstan. Our country has so many beautiful places, as for example America. There are canyons, sandhills, lakes. What was the craziest thing you have ever done? For the audiences, it is a damn descent down the stairs in Medeo. It seems cool for them. For professionals, it is not so difficult.
Я просто всегда исходил из того, что если ты чем-то занимаешься, этим надо заниматься, во-первых, системно.
I think that you should do all the things systematically and thoroughly. If you started doing something, you should set goals and raise the bar. So, more difficult starts are inevitable. Easy starts can become somehow boring. You start to think that you need something more serious. Gibraltar, the English Channel. I swam in the Sahara Desert. So there should be diversity in order to compete, not to get out of shape.
Потому что соревноваться хочется, атмосфера нравится, терять форму не хочется.
How much time do you spend on swimming?
Зависит сильно.
It depends on the periods and starts. At the period of preparation to swim in the English Channel, I trained 1 day per week during last 6 months. I spent 24 to 25 hours a week in the pool. What is the reaction of your family? I am lucky because I always had support of my family. They even take it as a family start. That is why it was easier for me at all the stages.
Но я в любом случае, конечно, несмотря
I try to spend more time with my children anyway. I started going in for sports at the age of 28, 29.
в 28-29,
I look not like I am today. I was heavy, I had problems with health, was short of breath. I realized it was time for me to change.
проблемы со здоровьем, там одышка, всякие нехорошие вещи начинались, и я уже подумал, наверное, что-то надо с этим делать.
What is your advice to young sportsmen, swimmers?
Я посоветовал бы, во-первых, соревноваться обязательно, и начиная заниматься уже выбирать для себя старт.
I would advise to train and to compete and be ready to choose starts, to find a good trainer and to pay attention not only to technique.
Поскольку я начинал сам, этим видом спорта я начинал в 16
In 2016, when I started swimming, long-range swimming was not so popular in Kazakhstan. I saw all my mistakes.
марафонским, и я все ошибки, в общем-то, почувствовал на своей шкуре, причем буквально. Первая проблема, с которой сталкиваются новички, морская вода очень сильно стирает все, вообще все. То есть я первый старт, 5 километров в морской воде, у меня вот здесь все.
The first problem is that the seawater hurts skin badly. After first start for 5 kilometers, I felt bad for a few days.
Сама по себе немножко такая неприятная штука, она очень плохо влияет на неподготовленный желудок.
Seawater itself has a very bad effect also on untrained stomach. It is recommended not to swallow it because you may feel sick and cannot eat food. Another unpleasant thing is that marathon starts take place in cold water.
Еще одна такая достаточно неприятная штука, это то, что марафонские старты это почти всегда холодные старты.
Do you have a favorite distance?
Мне нравится старт на озере Орта, это самый длинный.
I like to start on the Lake Ortha. It is the longest Oceanman, 14 kilometers in Italy. But I'm not lucky with it. I swam it 2 times and I performed badly.
Первый раз был просто не готов.
Но оба раза доплыли до финиша.
Оба раза, конечно, я финиширую, я никогда не снимался.
First time I was just not ready, second time I was injured, but both times I came up to finish.
Австрийский, который...
I have never fallen out of the race. I really like the Austrian start.
Он просто классный, потому что там очень спокойная вода, его очень приятно плыть.
It is nice because of calm water and beautiful Austrian town. It is nice to stay there before and after a swimming race. Every start has its unique charm.
У каждого старта есть свой определенный шарм, что ли.
Вот вы потратили много времени, много сил.
You and your family make a lot of work. What do you get in return?
Что получаете взамен?
Это сложно.
It is difficult to estimate it. In return, you get good mood, good health, and impressions. We only live once.
Мы же живем один раз.
What was the reaction of your family towards your passion? Are there any skeptic opinions?
Да, вначале многие родственники говорили, это очень опасно, зачем, как, почему, но...
In the beginning, my relatives said that was dangerous. Then they began to support me, they started following and telling friends about me.
Есть такой родной человек, который занимается таким видом спорта.
What does this kind of sport give you?
Для меня это в первую очередь как удовольствие, потому что я никогда не думал, и не планировал...
For me, first of all, it is a pleasure. I didn't plan to earn money on it. I was attracted by the prospect of being in this community. I wanted to ride with those who want to ride not for the sake of a photo or something.
Именно хочет кататься просто, а не так, например, просто поехал, покатался, сделал фотографии и все.
In what country the audience is mostly devoted to this sport? Where did you meet the biggest quantity of fans?
Это в Андорре. Это совсем маленькая страна, я думаю, где-то...
I suppose that in Andorra. It is a very small country, and it seems that the whole country gathered to cheer on. It was a surprise for me when I heard Kazakhstan go. I was very pleased. What is your main goal in this sport? I never wanted to become a world champion because there was no such a goal. I always wanted to perform at a good level and enjoy. In this situation, my sponsors gave me support. If not for them, maybe I wouldn't perform now because this type of sport is very expensive. Not everyone can afford $5,000 for changing a bicycle every year, besides the right equipment and travel costs. What is the main difference of this sport from the sport Kirill Kazantsev is engaged in? Kirill Kazantsev is engaged in the Olympic sport, which is called cross-country.
The difference is that they ride a long distance for a long time, and the descent is rapid.
A large number of people have starts. We have a fight against ourselves. Every 30 seconds, athletes start, and you should go on.
Помогает вам в жизни это?
Does it help you in
Что вы
ordinary
смогли?
life?
Я вот,
Yes,
условно,
I
сделал,
swam and proved to myself that I
казалось бы,
could
да,
do
а
it.
вот в делах, в работе, как это сказывается?
Да, конечно, помогает. Это, в принципе, ощущение очень важное для человека, для любого.
Of course, it helps. It is important for any person and in every kind of activity, not necessarily in sports. You strive to do something and you did it. When you get progress for 10, 15 times, the starts become more difficult and it increases self-reliance. Marathon swimming is a good thing. It grows patience.
Марафонское плавание вообще хорошая штука. Она на голову влияет очень положительно. Она воспитывает терпение.
Вы рассказываете о режиме питания, о
You
правильном
talk about dietary regime and nutrition. Do you manage to follow all the rules in everyday life?
Когда вот повседневной жизни.
No.
Нет необходимости.
Нет необходимости раз, и я не заморачиваюсь, честно. Потому что я знаю,
There is no need and I do not bother. Because when my training regime begins, I usually give up eating spicy food and consume more carbs. I try not to limit myself in ordinary life, especially since my weight remains the same for the last few years when I began to train. Marathon athletes, especially men, are overweight.
в пределах там примерно одинаковых величин последние несколько лет, с тех пор, как я начал регулярно заниматься.
Firstly, it increases buoyancy. Secondly, it helps not to freeze. It is very important. There is a woman, Sarah Thomas. Last August, she made a quadruple swim across the English
Это
Channel.
помогает не мерзнуть. И то, и другое очень важно. Вот, например, если вы посмотрите, есть такая Сара Томас. Это женщина, которая прошлой осенью
For the first time in history, a woman swam for 56 hours. She's quite a heavy girl, and she's a typical example of what I'm talking about. In marathon swimming, such a constitution helps in a big way.
очень плотная девушка. Вот. И вот она типичный пример того, о чем я говорю. В марафонском плавании такая комплекция, вот как у меня, например, она скорее помогает.
Вы переплыли Ла-Манш.
You swam the English Channel. You swam Gibraltar. You proved to everyone that you are the real Oceanman. What is your motivation?
Какая мотивация продолжать этот заплыв?
Во-первых, мне это нравится как образ жизни. Я это никогда не воспринимал как доказывание.
First of all, I like it as a part of my lifestyle. I never accept it as proving to someone on something. I like this way of life. I like my preparation for the start, this atmosphere. I adore trips. Before swimming in the channel, I lived in Dover. I trained and now I fondly remember that atmosphere. It is a very great variety of starts, geography of starts from Russia to Morocco. I've been swimming in Austria, Italy, Spain and many countries. It is always very interesting.
Я сильно скучаю. Ну, это же очень большое разнообразие. У меня география стартов очень разнообразная. От России до Марокко. Я плавал в Австрии, в Италии, в Испании.
I had a start in Morocco when we spent the night in Bedouin tents, sailed along the Sahara Desert. In the evenings there were Bedouin dances around the fire.
Плыли вдоль
I miss these moments.
по вечерам там были какие-то бедуинские танцы вокруг костра. Ну, то есть это незабываемо. Вот, это в жизни надо увидеть. Вот я по этим вещам скучаю больше.
Today there are many opinions that Ironman sport has a negative impact on health, but it was not proven. So what you can tell about Oceanman, how do you feel now?
Но это не ЗОЖ, конечно. Это не вот такие нагрузки, тот же Iron, те же крупные.
It's not a healthy lifestyle because of loads which are rather harmful to the human body. I think I will understand and feel it someday. If you want to preserve your health, it is better to choose walks, cross, table tennis, football with friends.
Если вы хотите сохранить здоровый образ жизни, то лучше там прогулки, легкий кросс.
As for Oceanman, they do it not for health, but for other purposes.
Это не ЗОЖ, это, наверное, может сказаться на здоровье. Туда люди идут не ради здорового образа жизни, и туда люди идут ради совсем других вещей.
absolutely different people at first view are equal by their desire to try something new. They are not afraid to get out of their comfort zone in search of new emotions, new sensations, though it is not always safe.
It was a Sports Nation program. See you next time on Kazakh TV.